Hello everyone, welcome to day 6 and our final day of C programming 1 week bootcamp, and I hope I am audible. So this session is going to be the final day. So what all topics we have seen till now, I just want you guys to post down that in the chat box just as a revision or reminder of what all topics we have covered till now. So if you just start seeing about it, we have seen introduction, the syntax, then we have moved into variables, then data types, so how you can do it, and we have write some programs. So in data types we have different format specifiers and different types of data types, right? In numbers also we have integer, double, then long, short, unsigned, int, and all we have seen. And then we moved into day 3, 4, we have seen about conditional statements, using it efficiently. Then we move into day 5 where we have seen looping statements, for loop, while loop, do while. So we have covered a lot of basic topics, and we are in the intermediary stage. And if you remember, this is the final day where we have to discuss about array concepts. So it's important concept in programming and in C programming too. So we'll be discussing about arrays, how you can store array, how you can change the value, how you can access this in this session. Also how you can create a 2D array we'll be discussing here, and how you can use array strings inside of arrays, how to access it and work with it. So all these topics will be covered in this session, this final session. And make sure that a review link will be posted in the chat box. So make sure you are writing the final review, so you could write an entire review of this entire 1 week boot camp. We have seen the basics of C programming. Finally, in this session, we'll also have some topics on a simple project, but the task is you want to make it work. Okay, that's the idea behind it. We are going to create a ATM simulator which simulates some of the requirements it should be doing. So that we'll be doing in this session. And so by the end of this session, they will be posting a review link. So if you are really learned something from this session in this 1 week bootcamp, you can write elaborately on the Google review about mentioning the C programming and write some how it went and how it helped you, or in which way you could write about it. Anyway, so I hope we can start with the session, right? So can I get some response in the chat box for starting the session? Once again, finally, everyone, it will be better if you post some emojis, thumbs up emojis in the chat box to start the session. Fine. Can we start? Guys? So starting the session, the day 6 and final day, I'm going to start with the array. Okay, so what is this arrays? Any idea what is arrays? You could post down that in chat box. You could have learned it from some other programming language. Array is a concept which is nothing but collection of items. Okay. So talking about arrays are used to store multiple values in a single variable instead of declaring separate variables for each value. For example, I have 4 values. So if I want to store them together, I have to create 4 different variables. Instead, what you could do is you could create a single variable and store multiple items inside of it. So that is possible in arrays. So they are used to store multiple values in a single variable instead of declaring separate variables for each value. So to create an array, define the data type. Okay. For example, if the array you are going to store is an integer or a double or a string or whatever the character, you can mention it. And for example, like int, if you mention and specify the name of the array followed by square bracket, so that will help you to create arrays. If you guys remember, we know that string, we don't have that data type in C, so we used to create an array of characters. Okay, so near character I will be giving the name and then create square brackets, which tells that if I type multiple words, each will be a different element. Okay, one by one the element is stored. That's an array. Okay, so that's how we used to store strings and names inside, remember? So we are going to now use it for numbers. So we'll start with for example, this is how you declare. For example, if I'm storing integer, just print integer, the number, and then you are just mentioning what all things. If you want to collect, you are just assigning with curly braces, and then separate each value separated with comma. Okay, and then finally you could print it entirely, or if you want you could get it one by one element is also possible. So that's how we have stored the name. So that's how we will be accessing also. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let us go and do it hands-on. Okay, so let us go and do it hands-on. So let me remove these things from yesterday's session. So freshly final day is starting with hash include, okay, stdio.h. Fine. So we'll start with integer main function, okay, which is going to return 0. Fine. So here I am going to create, for example, let us create integer prices. Okay, this is an array now. So I'm going to assign some values, could be 13, 14, 17, 20, 25. Okay, it could be anything. So just add curly braces. Fine. So now I have created an array. Let me just simply run it. And yeah, nothing output, but still no error. Okay. So let us go and print it. So if you want to see the elements inside of it, you can't print an array here. So you have to mention the format specifier, which is going to be, for example, let us go and get, for example, they have some index number. Okay. So if you want to find where the 13 is, it's an integer which is stored in the 0th index. The index is like a serial number, and for arrays, the index starts from 0. So the index number for 13 is 0. For the next entry is 1. For the next entry is 2, then it's 3, then so on. Okay, it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order, whatever array you create. So if I want to take the 0th index, which is going to be 13, I'll mention that price, okay, and then I'll get a dollar symbol, and then we'll pass that, comma. I want to get the prices where the value I want to get it, which is in 0th index, which is going to be integer value, right? So that format specifier I should mention. So if I run this, okay, the price is 13. Can you guys see this? The price is 13 in that place. So if I try to access the first element, the value will be 14 now. So for the second index, it is going to be the next one. And the next one, if I just save it and run it, yeah, in 2 it's 17, right? Then for 3, it is 20. And then for 4, it is going to be 25. Okay, so like that we can get the values of individual things. For example, so if I try to get the 5th one, it should throw a garbage value which is not available. You could see that the total length here is a 4 index only. The length is 5, which means from 0 to the end it is going to be 4 index. And if you try to pick the individual things, and if you go out of the thing, you will be getting some garbage values thrown out to you. Every time you run it, you will be getting some random values. Okay, so for example, instead of doing this, if you don't know that what all elements you are going to store in your array, so what you have to do is you can declare it first. So if I declare it like this, I'll be getting error because you can't declare it empty, an array. So if you want to declare it, you have to mention what's the maximum size it can store. For example, if I want to store 5 elements, then I can declare that also, so that it will be in that order. So after that, what I can do is I can go and set some values. For example, so in prices of 0, we know that in 0th index there is nothing now, but I could assign a value. For example, I could store that as 4. Okay, and then prices of 1, I could store that at some value. Okay, and make sure that it's an integer, since we have declared an integer type. Okay, so we'll store some values here like this. So prices of 3 is equal to 12, and prices of 4 is equal to 16. Okay, so for example, if I've done that, so if you want to verify it manually, you could go with printf. And one thing, guys, if you want to take one by one, we know that this is an array, it has been collected, fine. So you can't assign another value here because the maximum size exceeds. Okay, so if I go and set this, when I try to run it, I should get error. Okay, it won't be saved. So that's the maximum limit. If you try to access it, it won't be stored in that place. Anyway, we'll check that later. But if I want to check one by one, I am going to use one by one element. Am I correct? Printf 0th index, printf first index, printf second index. That's time consuming and it's really waste of time. So what you could simply do is, we know how to utilize a for loop, right? For, we know that in for loop I have to declare a counter here. I'll start with 0, okay, because the index starts with 0. So what happens is, when the I is less than Okay, so we need to find, we know that the length is 5, right? So if we go with 5, it stops at 4, but you could also do it in some other way. I'll tell you later on. So for now we'll move with this, and what I'm going to do is we have to separate it with semicolons, right? So it goes I plus plus. So the first time the loop runs, value is 0, then 1, 2, 3 and 4. When it reaches 5, it's not true, so it terminates out. So in printf, okay, so I'll print prices, okay, percentage d, okay, comma. So the value I'm going to pass is prices. So in that, what I'm going to get, okay, so instead of 0, 1, 2, 3 entering manually, I could pass the I value. So at first it will be 0. So the next time it is 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Okay, so it takes one by one value. So that's how you loop through an array. Okay, so now we are actually looping through an array, and if I run this, okay, so you could see that this is not good. We'll enhance it. Add a new line character. Okay, so add a colon here and then mention a dollar symbol, space. That will help you to get the prices which you have. For example, if I declare it as 10, that's possible. If I want to add a fifth element, I could go, even though the maximum is different. For example, I can't directly jump into 10. So the fifth index I could store as 20. Fine. So, and we need to adjust this also. So you have to do it manually here if you go with this method. And see here guys, even though you declare the maximum size as 10, which means a 10 is possible. Okay, if you go with 5, no issues, you will be storing that. Anyway, you are just creating a space for it. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear till now guys, how we create an array, how we add elements to it, and how we loop through it? Is it clear till now? So I need some responses whether it is clear or not. I could post down the answers in chat box. Okay, waiting for your response. I hope now it's clear how you could loop through an array, right? And for example, I'll tell you another concept. Okay, I'll just remove these things. So the array we are going to store is, for example, let us have once again we'll revert back to what we had previously. So we have this array, right? So we have this array, and what I'm going to do is, I know the length is 5. Okay, so I'll run this, I get each values, fine. But if I don't know what's the exact length is going to be, so this 5 will be different. If I go with 3, I'll be getting only 3 elements from it, right? So I don't know the exact number now, so how can I get it? And there is a way to find the length of it. With the help of, you have to utilize one property. So before this, I'll go with printf. Okay, so I'm going to print a integer. Okay, so I'll go with byte size. So we'll get the size, comma. So I'm going to get the size of particularly I'm going to get it from an option for you, which is size of. So you are getting the size of your byte value, which is from the prices. Okay, so the entire thing. Okay, what's the size it is storing in your memory location. So if I print it, okay, so I'll be getting 1 minute colon, and then yeah, so the byte size is 20. Can you guys understand? So I have stored 5 element and the byte size is 20 to storing, and the reason behind is, okay, so each element we know that integer is of 4 bytes. Okay, it in the memory it is taking 4 bytes of memory, so the total is 20 because of 5 element. So if you divide this, okay, with size of, okay, so what I'm going to do is prices of any of the element. Let us go with 0th index. So I'm dividing the total size with 1 element size, and that should give me, okay, it should give me the size of one single thing, okay, which is 5. Okay, so this is nothing but the length. Okay, so now if you use this, you will get length of an array, of your array. Okay, length of your array is at 5. Okay, clear about this? And I have missed the modulo symbol, that's why it is not printing the format specifier has been missed. So the length is 5. So let us try to increase it to something else. Okay, let us store in this way. I'll store it as 40, and let us run this. Now the length is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you just take this, and the reason we have used this is we want to just utilize this. I'll cut it off, and when I is less than this particular value, when the size of it, just print this particular task, and that will make sure that every time you create or add a value in your array, every value from the first till the last is printed. So this is an important concept which is used in a lot of places. And yeah, that's it about the arrays which we have, and we are trying to print all the elements inside of it. I hope it will be clear. Is it clear, guys? If it's clear, please post down that in chat box. And if it's clear, I wish to continue the session towards 2D arrays. Okay, 2D arrays is just furthermore interesting. You could create matrix and all with this. Can we start with 2D arrays? So 2D arrays will be furthermore interesting to create and use, and it gives you a lot more functionality. And just think about what could be a 2D array. Okay, so if I tell you that something we are going to learn is 2D array, which means what we have learned now is a one-dimensional array with collection of elements. So that is a one-dimensional array. So if I go and create a 2D array, how will it look like? Okay, so what does this 2D array is? I hope we can start. An array where each element is an entire array. Okay, so we have an array. Inside of it we have each element. Okay, it could be, it's not an integer, it is going to be an array once again. So inside of that we have collection of items. Okay, so it is useful for creating matrix or grid or table of data. So what I'm going to do is to create a 2D array. It's simple. So I'll remove these things. So I'm going to just call declare. So the thing I'm going to store inside is integer. If you want, you could go with floats and so on. So I'll go with numbers. Okay, so as we know that this is going to be the array, so I can also create another box here, so that tells that it's a 2D array, and I can mention their size. For example, let us create a 2 cross 3, which is 2 row 3 column, which is equal to, okay, so I could create elements. So let us go and add elements inside of it. Can we do it, guys? So we know that this is how you declare an array, but inside of it the elements are once again going to be array. Okay, so I am going to create 2 arrays with 3 elements inside of each. So that is going to be 1 2 3 and 4 5 6. Okay, this is a 2D array. So now if you want to get elements inside of it, okay, for example, let me just printf, okay, modulus d, and we'll go with comma. I'll go and get numbers of 2. So I'm going to use the index position, and we know that this entire thing stores a 0th index because this is the first element of the outer array. Okay, so this is the first index, so you can't get 2. So I'll go with in 0th index, I want the 0th element, which is 1. So I'll get that value. So this should technically return me the value output, which is 1. Okay, in my output. So let me run this. So the answer is 1. Okay, so what's this is the 0th element. Okay, and in that I want to get the first index. The answer is 2. So I'll go with 1, and that should give me 2 here. So if I want to take 5, that is nothing but 1 comma 1. So in the first row, first column, I'll go and take it. So that is 5. So that's how you access a 2D array. You could create and access it. Okay, so for example, now I'll give you some time on thinking how you could use a for loop to access all element inside of it. Any idea? You can't use a single for loop. If you try to use a single for loop, you will be entering into this and you will be getting 2 arrays now. So what you will be doing? Okay, idea? Any idea about it? So you could post your ideas about arrays. We have seen about some different type of arrays, right? A for loop, a while loop, a do while, a nested loop, right? So here the task is we need to use nested loop. If you use nested loops, you could get proper output. So let me go with for, okay, integer I equal to 0, okay, colon. I'll go with I when it is less than 2. Okay, here the size. Okay, you could get the size of, no issue, I plus plus. And I'm going to start here inside. I'm not going to print directly. I'm going to use a for loop again. Integer j equal to 0 when j is less than 3 here for this situation, and j plus plus. Okay, and then use another one where I'm going to just printf. So now it's, you guys should understand that. See here, So I'm going to take numbers and I want to pass two things. Hopefully it's I and j. Okay, why I is the first loop. Okay, so it starts from 0 1. So I'll be getting 0 and 1 in I. So when the value of I is 0, this loop starts. Okay, so when this loop starts, the value of I will be 0 first. It will be constant. So when I get 0, it will be 0 here throughout this loop ends. And we know that the j value here can go from 0, 1 and 2. So which will help you to take all these three elements printed with this. And then the loop ends. Okay, it goes again. It goes into this one, into the next one, which is the I value is now 1. Okay, when the I value is 1, I'll be having 1 here. And then the remaining things, this loop starts, which is once again going to be 0, 1 and 2. So it reaches here, so that you will be getting all these elements. So this will help you to print all the elements you have. And if you want, you could add a new line character, so you get all the elements. Okay, j plus plus, yeah, here it's not comma, it's colon. Now it's fine. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So that's how you can create a 2D array and access element inside of it. I hope it will be clear. You can also assign values. You could change, if you want, you could change the values to for example, in 0 of 0, if you want to add some element, or if you want to change something else, you could have it. Okay, so that's it about 2D arrays. I need a confirmation that is it clear about 2D arrays. So next we are going to discuss about we will be discussing about array of strings. So we know that string is an array of character, but can you store an array of strings? Yeah, it's possible technically, so you could do it. So for example, for doing that, you have to create a 2D array. That's why we have seen the concept of 2D array. And the reason behind is, for example, if I'm storing a name, guys, see here, I'm storing a character name. So we know that we have to create an array to store multiple things. For example, like Sam. And you have to understand that what if I print using printf, I'm going with the format specifier, which is character, and I am accessing, okay, name of 0. So what will be the answer? Just think about it and post down in chat box. Okay, so the value I'm getting is s based on 0. So in the first index we have a, and then in the second index we have m. So we know that now this character or string which we are storing multiple things are a character array. And now if you want to collect items, okay, collect different arrays, what you could do is you could simply create a 2D array. Okay, so in 2D array you could go and collect items. For example, let me give max length of 10 here, and since it's a 2D, we'll go and create an array of characters. So first I'll store some names like Sam, okay, comma Raj, comma Derek. Okay, so we have some names here. So what if you want to print the entire details? For example, if you want to store a detail, or if you want to print, what could be the answer, guys? So what you could simply do is, once we know that it's a character array, okay, it's a string, so we could take, for example, so in that I want to take, let us go and get the 0th index and see the result. So what I'm getting here in the result is Sam. And if I go and get the first index, since it's a format specifier as a string, I'll be getting Raj here. And if I go with 2, I'll be getting Derek here. And how it works, I hope when you understand the concept of string and the concept of array or 2D array in C programming, you will be a well more understanding of how it works. Okay, so after that, for example, if you want to go through some part, I'll tell you, what if you want to replace Sam with some other name? Okay, let us consider that this Sam want to rename him as Wilson. He prefer that in that way. So what I'm going to do? To do that, we need to use a function, which is first we'll include string.h. If you remember, we have used it already. So that will help you to include a lot of things, right? String.h, we'll include it. And then what if I want to swap that? So I need to use string copy function. Okay, so what you are going to change is the position of it is going to be in name. In 0th index I want to change that into, okay, for example, I want to change it into Wilson. Okay, so I could do this. So if I go and get the 0th index, let us see whether it's a Wilson or Sam. Okay, so I'll run this. and the answer is now Wilson, and the reason behind this, you know that we could go and get it, right? So this is replace, this will string copy will help you to swap the values. So the Wilson will goes here and this will be deleted from it, so that you will be getting the proper output. Is it clear about this? If it's clear, we could wind up this topic on string arrays and so on with one particular thing, which is going to be using a for loop in an array of character. So what if I want to print all the names inside of my names, okay, let us, technically it's names, right? A lot of names are available. So fine. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'll just remove these things and I'm go with a for loop. Integer I equal to 0, okay, colon, we colon. So we know that we could get the size of, okay, size of, what size we are going to get? Names divided by size of names of 0. So that will give me the size, but I want to check whether I is less than this particular thing. That is the condition here. And then I want to increment I with 1 every time this loop runs. And then, here I'll add a condition. I want to use a printf statement, and we know that we need to get the names. For example, I think we could go with printf, and then we'll directly print the name. So that is a string, and then the thing I'm going to print is from names I want to get the I, and yeah, so this will make it. We should add a new line character so that it looks something like this: Sam, Raj and Derek. So if I add another name, for example, I want to add let us go with Manish. Okay, I'll save it. It's comma. So when I go with this, when I run this, I'll be getting all the names which I have in my character arrays, right? So that's it about array of strings. Is it clear, guys? If it's clear, please post down in chat box. If it's clear, please post down in chat box, because I have a simple assignment. Now we'll be dealing that. So I plan to include it now. So what we are going to do is, let us declare two character x is equal to, let me store a capital X, and then character y is equal to capital Y. And now your task is, you want to replace the value of x into y and y into x. You need to replace or swap the variables values. So how will you do it? For example, so if I print x is equal to the particular format specifier, here will be a character, comma, I want to get the value of x here, variable x, and then printf, I want to go and get the value of y, which is going to be operator, character, comma, I want to get the value of y. So when I print the value of x, I should get y here, the capital Y, and get x here in this place. So I want it to be swapped or reswapped. Okay. Okay, what the error we have? Capital Y, character symbol. Yeah, the thing is, if it's a single character, you have to use a single quotes. That's the problem here. So yeah, going with that, now it will be fine. So yeah, I'll add a new line character, so you get proper output. X equal to x and y equal to y. I want to swap x equal to y and y equal to x. How can I do it? So to achieve this, we have already learned that string copy, right? You could use that. So if you want to do that, what if, or instead we'll have something like x equal to apple, okay, y equal to orange. And if I store it, this is a character array, so you need to mention it's a character array. And then here the format specifier, it changes, right? It's a string, so you need to get the strings. Okay, first we'll run it. Invalid initializer, yeah, double quotes. Change it. Okay. Yeah, x equal to apple, y equal to orange. So if I want to swap it, this will be really easy for you. So let us create a temporary variable. Okay, so that's a character array which is called as temporary, which is going to be a length of 20 for max. We'll keep. Okay, in such useful situations we'll use it. So if you want to swap between two, what you could do is, first I'll suggest you to swap between string copy. Okay, so first what we are going to do is, we are going to take the temporary one, okay, with x. Okay, so that will be done now. So in place of temporary, now the value of x will be stored, And then I'm going to use string copy, where what I'm going to do is in the place of x now, so since we have the value of x in temporary, we could lose the x and replace it with value of y. So now what happens? The value of x is stored in temporary. Temporary is different now, so we don't need x value now, but we need to get it value of y in x. So I'll just change y value to x. Okay, so now now we have x ready. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to get the old value of x into y. So that is available in temporary. So in y I'll just add the temporary variable value. So we are actually doing this 3 steps, which will help you to just shuffle them and get you the respective output. So if you just do this, so what happens is now the value of x should be orange and value of y should be apple, and that's what we have obtained with the temporary variable. Clear? So that's, we are trying to obtain this, and we have got it successfully. And yeah, so that's how you could play with the string characters, and lot of interview questions will be like this, so you could practice with those. And moving into the final project of this entire workshop. Okay, so we have seen a lot of small things, temperature, sorry, it is hypotenuse finding, circumference of a circle, calculator, and today also we have seen few, right, like string switches and so on. So finally we are going to utilize a project which is a ATM simulator project. Okay, so we are going to create ATM simulator. First I'll tell you the rules and give you some time to think. So first what happens is, every time the user runs the program, at first it should start with displaying the result, which is it should print that press 1 for example, let us have 1 for checking balance, 2 for withdrawal, 3 for deposit, and 4 for quit. So it displays and asks the user to select either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. So that we can do with the scanf. And after that, if he uses selects 1, I need to go to respective balance. I want to show it to the user. If I go with 2, I want to show it. I want to ask the user to enter the money. So how much they are entering, I want to just add it to the balance. And if we go with the deposit, I want to get the money and then subtract it with the balance. And then finally, if they press quit at any point of time, if 4 is pressed, okay, I just want to terminate the ATM simulator. So that is the task we will be doing in this session. So yeah, I think we can start with the session, right? We can continue with creating this. So initially, I hope you guys could have got some idea about how we are going to do. So let us go and start this with ATM simulator. I have an empty file here. We'll just drop all these things. And once again, this is going to be the final topic we will be seeing in this particular entire bootcamp. So there are review links will be posted in the chat box, so you could write review about the entire stuff we had. And C program is a vast C. Okay, so if you are interested, you could learn a lot more in this. So starting with this ATM simulator project, the final topic of this entire bootcamp. So let us go with #include stdio.h. And what I'm going to do is, we know that we need to have a balance. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about something known as a global variable. So we know that we will be needing a balance, and previously when we try to have some variables declared, we will be doing it inside of main function, which can't be accessed from some other functions. But here I have a situation where I'll be creating multiple functions and I want to access it from outside of this function. So what I could simply do is, I could go with declaring a variable which is outside of all the function. So that is called as a global variable. For example, balance is equal to 1000. Initially we'll have a balance as 1000, and this tells that this variable is a global variable which is common for all the functions, so you could use it from any place. So I'll create integer main, okay, return 0. So I can just get the value of balance and print it, modulus d, okay, and then comma balance, right? So if I run this, I'll be getting, okay, we are getting 0. It seems, okay, it's a float, right? So for float, the format is f. So if I go with that, I'll get that. For example, I'll go with 0.0f. So just get 1000, that's fine, right? So that's how you get variables. So if you want to return some other function, that also you could access. I'll do that now. So first, what happens is in my main function, okay, I want to get the user's choice. So for getting the choice, I need to go with declaring a function which is called as the variable integer choice. Okay, and then I'm going to use do while loop because I want to start this, and then I'll check the condition whether they have pressed 4 or not. Okay, I'll go with printf. Okay, new line character and ATM Simulator. Okay, /n, a new line character, and then I'll go with some conditions here. So these are just for the user to check balance, new line. Okay, then printf to withdraw amount, and then printf free is going to be deposit, new line character, and then printf 4 is quit. Okay, so these are all the options which will be displayed every time to the user. New line. Yeah, so after this, exactly what should happen is it should go with a scanf, and I'll be passing the symbol here. It is going to be an integer, the choice, and I need to pass the ampersand choice for its location. Okay, and then once we got this choice, what I'm going to do is I'll add a switch case. Okay, so based on the choice we'll be moving into 1, 2 or 3 or 4. So the case 1 I'll go with a particular thing and then break it now. Okay, I'll be leaving space for it. I'll be writing it later. We don't have created any functions there, so I'll break it. So in case 3 it is withdrawal, right? Sorry, deposit. So for that I'll write a case break for now. Okay, and then in case 4, which is quit actually. So in case of case 4, before quitting, I just want to print that thank you for using the ATM. Okay, and then yeah, we could add something like this and break it. And in case of something else has been done, okay, for example in default, if it fails, I'll go with default, I'll go with printf invalid. We could just have invalid. Yeah, so and then break it. And here after this I'm going to create a while loop which checks the choice, okay, which is should be not equal to 4. So this is the condition for the while loop do while to execute. Yeah, I think I need to use this here inside the do. It's not for switch, so I just cut it off and paste it here. Okay, save it. Fine. So yeah, so that's it about this. So the user selects, and then we are just breaking it out for now. But if I want to do things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some functions here for all the 3. Check balance, withdrawal and deposit should be done. If it's done, then no issues. We could just directly finish it off, right? So I'll create some void functions here. Void check balance. Okay. And what this is going to do is printf. Okay, we know that the balance is a global variable now, so you could get it from here. So your balance, or what you could simply do is you could create parameter and argument and go with that. Your balance is $modulus d. Okay, comma balance. Okay, it's not an integer, it's a float. It's I think we can declare it simply as an integer and finish it off, right? Why we need to go with the balance of int balance, and this is modulus d and balance. Okay, so we'll check it off whether it's working or not. So when the user selects check balance, I'll add this function here which is going to be check balance. Okay, we'll try this whether it works or not. Run it. ATM Simulator, the first version, you need to enter. Okay, here I have missed this new line character, and then choice, I'll go with a symbol to mention that I need to enter it, right? So the choice I'm going to enter is 1. Your balance is 1000, and then it prints that once again, right? So we'll add 2 new line characters so that it looks great. Okay, we did some mistake. Yeah, go with 1. Check your balance. Once again, check your balance. It is printing you the result. Your balance is that. Okay. So if I press 4, thanks for using the ATM. Good. But we need to add 2 more features here. One is withdrawal, another one is deposit, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll create another few functions, 2 functions. Void withdraw. Okay. So in withdraw, I'm going to add a float value which is called as amount, or integer is fine. Integer amount. And what I'm going to do is printf. We know that if I want to ask the user to, if he is withdrawing, he want to enter the amount, how much he need to withdraw, right? So amount to withdraw. So he'll be getting it from the user using printf and scanf statements properly. And I'll add a dollar symbol, new line character. Yeah, that is not required here. So I'll go with that and then go with scanf. It's an integer and go and store it in amount. Okay, ampersand amount. Yeah, fine. So once I got the amount, what I need to check is I can't directly subtract it. What if he is having a balance of 1000 and he is trying to withdraw 10,000? That's not possible, right? So also if he is trying to get a negative number, so that can't be possible. So if amount is greater than 0, okay, and I'm going to use an AND operator, and amount is less than or equal to balance, okay, in such situation I'll go and call for example the balance should minus equal to, okay, subtract it with the amount and store it in balance, and then printf withdrawal of modulus d is successful. Okay, we could add a dollar symbol here so that we are mentioning the amount particularly to the user that has been withdrawn. Okay, and comma modulus d value is going to be amount. So the amount he has asked is withdrawal if it's success. Okay, so in else case I'll add that if any problem there, I'll add a printf statement to tell that invalid amount. Okay, fine, that's fine. So we'll check withdrawal property with, and I'll verify that we will be having the required new line characters. Just add it and then go with here. 2 is withdrawal, right? So let me add a withdrawal here, withdrawal function. So let us run it. So it is asking me the options. I'll go with check balance. It is 1000. Withdraw some amount, enter some amount. For example, I'll enter 400. Withdrawal of 400 is successful. Now check the balance. Balance is 600. Good. I'll go with withdrawal and enter an amount which is 10,000. It is telling me invalid amount, and check the balance. Your balance is still 600. That's good. Now we need to add only one final feature which is going to be for depositing the money. And for deposit we need to create another function, and then deposit also we need to check few things. Void deposit. Okay, and what is the task this guy is going to do is first once again we need to get some amount, right? So integer amount, enter the amount to the same thing, same process, enter the amount to deposit. Okay, and then get the amount and store it in the amount. So what I'm going to do is, these are local variables, so no issue. So if that amount is greater than 0, no issue. I don't want to subtract it by adding amount, right? So the balance should be gets added with amount. And finally printf deposit of dollar modulus d is successful. Okay, comma, the value here is balance. In else case, okay, I'll go with printf that invalid amount. Fine. So that's how you technically build any application or simple things. This is one of the base application. So the final thing I want to do is I want to add it here. So I'll add it in the deposit. Okay, simple. So I'll add it the function parenthesis here. Okay, fine. So let us check it. Okay, sometimes if you terminate it properly, it is just keep on going. Run it freshly one time. Yeah, check balance 1000. Okay, deposit some money 1000. Okay, so the 2000 is successful. No, so since it means that I'm passing the balance here, I should pass the amount only. Okay, amount, how much he has done, that only you need to do. 4, quit, then run it again, it will be proper, it won't be looping through. Okay, so we'll go with deposit some money, go depositing 4000. So now the total balance is 5000. Withdraw some amount, let us deposit, say let us get 499. So now what's your check balance? Your balance is 1. Let me add some amount for you. Let us try to add -9. Invalid amount. Let me add a proper amount. We'll add for you this much amount. Invalid amount, and the reason behind is there is some limitations for integer. You can't go beyond it, right? So let us go with, for example, we'll add deposit, add 4000. 4000 is successful, which means if you check your balance, it is 4001. Anyway, so finally I'll go and quit it with 4, quit. Thank you for using the ATM. And we have successfully completed this ATM simulator project, and we have successfully completed our 1 week internship or 1 week bootcamp on C programming. So thank you guys, thank you for attending all these 6 sessions, thank you for your support. Please write your review about the 1 week bootcamp we had. Thank you, we'll see you in some other sessions. Please do check our site, we have a lot of courses like this, similar like this. We have a lot of technical courses. You could check our site and follow this or subscribe this YouTube channel for further free bootcamps and further master classes. Thank you.